Hey Facebook,
Hey,
welcome back to Friday Night Live.
Hi Facebook. We've got Ben back with us doing sound check tonight.
Yep, let's see here.
Check. Do you need me to do the sharing?
Yeah, you might need to.
Okay.
I hope we're up and running.
We'll see. You're logged into me?
Yes.
Coolio. All right, so we're just going to do our normal technical stuff for those who are new tonight. If you could just bear with us for a second or two here, we will be in up and running with a real show here in just a few minutes.
Maybe.
Do you want to talk about our first news item tonight, which is the electric parade leaving Disneyland?
Oh, yes. So the Main Street Electrical Parade, which recently relocated from Walt Disney World in Florida to Disneyland in California, is going to be leaving. It's everyone out there was really excited when it came home. Like, the trucks were all painted up, and it's home and all this stuff, and now it's going away. I didn't catch the last night because I was
August 20th.
August 20th. There you go.
August 20th is the last night of the Disneyland Electric Parade run. So my fingers are crossed that it's coming back to Disney World. But
I don't know.
we have not heard a single thing. So
those of you who are tuned in with us, if somebody could leave us a comment, I've got a spinning thing on my video right now, so anybody could leave us a comment and let us know if you can see us or not. That would be great. It says that we're still live, but you know how these things go.
The Technical Difficulties podcast is live and running.
Alright, so we're just checking here.
Oh, Amy's going to go check for us.
It's still counting down, which is good, but it's not popping up. Okay, alright, I think we're cool.
Alright.
You sure?
So.
Alright.
All
So,
right.
Ben is watching comments, if you want to comment and follow along, and if you have any questions, we'll certainly answer them to the best of our ability as we go along tonight. And our next news item, we want to stick with all the Disneyland stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So, Electric Parade, bye-bye.
Yep.
Disneyland Railroad and Rivers of America, hi. So, both are back, both are open again, so... it was a really cool thing this week. I don't know if you guys saw the video. John Lasseter brought his train and another train that's at a museum somewhere that were actually from the personal collection of Ward Kimball.
Oh, wow.
And the other guy who got Walt Disney interested in trains in the first place. And he owns one of the engines, and there's this museum that owns the other. So for the first time ever, two engines were traveling together around Disneyland Railroad. So that was
awesome.
that was like a really cool opening thing that they did when it came back.
Is that the one that I saw Donald Duck riding?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
That was cute. That was really cute.
Yeah, so that was great. And then our last Disneyland bit of news is that Max Pass is up and running. So that's the one where you can get your Fast Passes on the app at Disneyland. If you haven't been before, you'll know that Disneyland does not have magic bands like they do at Walt Disney World. So this is their first step into doing something that's a little more electronic and moving away from paper Fast Passes.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so everybody is now using their admission ticket to get their Fast Passes, and it's actually logging to your admission ticket as opposed to putting your admission ticket in and getting a paper Fast Pass. If you pay for Max Pass, which is $10 a day for day visitors, you get your photos for the day included, and you get electronic Fast Pass, so
Nice.
Which enables you to make your reservations from your phone. You can still only do one at a time, and you can't pre-select, but it beats running back and forth to the Fast Pass machines all day long. So, especially if there's anybody in your party who has mobility issues and you don't want to split up and send a runner to get Fast Passes, it's kind of, I think it's a much calmer experience that way. It's a much more friendly way to tour the park. So,
and on crowded days, like when we were there, it can be really hard to tell where the Fast Pass line ends. The line to get Fast Passes ends, and the line to get into the ride.
See, Guardians of the
Star
Galaxy.
Tours.
Oh yeah, Star Tours was a mess.
Star Tours was a mess.
Oh my gosh,
So yeah, it would be much nicer than trying to cross, because when Disneyland gets crowded, they do one-way traffic.
Oh my gosh.
And
good luck getting anywhere, because they won't let you get off and exit and go in the street.
Having not having to try and cross one-way traffic sounds really awesome.
Right.
So we are joined by Allison and Stephanie.
Hey guys. Hello. So, next, what do you have next?
Okay, next, I think you guys talked about this briefly, the new mini vans. We did talk about that a little bit too. Earlier, I guess, because I was here.
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, but we're getting bits and pieces of details. So
Yeah.
we'll keep sharing those with you because I know a lot of people are really interested in what these are going to
Hi, Howard.
do. So
But to our knowledge, they are still only servicing boardwalk, yacht, and beach club areas. We are still uncertain as to if you're staying at another resort, if you can get
go
one
to
way to yes,
Yacht
because
and
that
Beach.
would be great.
right. For dining
but-
reservations,
for dining
especially at Trattoria Al Forno for the new Rapunzel and Ariel breakfast, and
And
at
Cape
Cape
May
May Cafe.
Cafe.
So
Yes,
that would be pretty amazing.
absolutely.
Are we doing that in October?
Yeah, we're doing the Rapunzel and Ariel breakfast.
Are we going to test out the minivan?
If it
If
will
it
come and
works,
get us.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the hours of operation are 6:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. So
Wow.
it will definitely be able to meet your needs for those early
Yep.
morning.
The only thing
Dining
it won't
reservations.
meet your needs for is if you're closing down Jelly Rolls at the end of the night.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you'll have to be out of Jelly Rolls by 12:30 to catch the last minivan.
Another very, very exciting, because I know Ben is super excited for Star Wars Land, but I'm very excited for Toy Story Land.
Me too.
And the very last track of the Slinky Dog roller coaster has been put in place this week, so I'm so excited. So 2018.
If we're gonna get to ride it soon, it could be less than a year
I know,
from
right?
today.
Yeah. Yeah. So very, very, very excited for the Slinky Dog roller coaster ride.
Now we do have some Star Wars news
Okay, go ahead.
this week.
Not that it's fine.
Yeah, so little piece of news for Ben here, and I don't think you know about this.
Uh-oh.
It depends.
I bet you don't. I hope.
Is it about an interactive Star Wars experience in the parks?
Yes. Well, it's at Downtown Disney in Disney Springs.
Oh, okay.
Did you read about it?
I saw it briefly, but I had to actually
Okay.
do work at the office today, so I
that's
wasn't able to
fun.
read it.
Yeah.
And my boss wasn't even there, and I still had to do work. How messed up is
So
that?
it's by a company called Void, and they're doing a hyper reality Star Wars experience.
Okay,
At an undisclosed location that we think is probably not the old Disney Quest building.
probably not, because that's going to be the NBA experience.
Exactly. So unless the NBA experience doesn't take the whole building, because it's a huge, but it's like 5 stories. So
Yeah.
maybe they don't need the whole thing, and maybe this is going to be part of that. But I think they're tearing the building
I
down.
don't know. Basketball players are often quite tall.
They're not 5 stories tall. They'd have a heck of a time riding Space Mountain. They really would be decapitated.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
It could be in the nobody got decapitated. It just scares me when Ben rides Space Mountain because he sits really high in the seat and I get really nervous riding behind him. So I don't.
My head's enormous.
Yeah, I don't ride that ride anymore. It scares me.
It's like an orange on a toothpick.
But the La Nuba Cirque du Soleil is ending in December, I think. So
What?
I don't know what they're doing with that space, but this sounds like it's opening pretty soon. I didn't see an opening date, but
Did
it
it
sounded.
say before the holidays?
Yes,
So,
you're right. It did.
It
It
said-
sounded imminent.
yeah, so it looks like definitely by November,
Yeah.
not before, because it said by holiday.
But it's coming to Disney Springs and to Downtown Disney and Disneyland. So there's no Cirque du Soleil building in Disneyland. So I can't picture, and there wasn't any construction in May. So I don't know where it's going.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a
Well-
mystery.
Hi, Tammy. If it's an augmented reality thing, maybe it's something you play in the park, a la the Kim Possible.
No, it's at Disney Springs and Downtown Disney.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it specifically said that it's at those locations. So that's why I can't really place. Although a couple of stores have been closing at Downtown Disney in Land.
Maybe they'll close
So-
the Frozen Boutique in Disney in down
I
in.
don't think there's any, I don't think that's in danger anytime soon. I think was it Build-A-Bear?
What did you just
No.
Was it Build-A-Bear that was closing in Land?
No, there was.
It was something like that I thought was like, wow, isn't that really popular? I can't believe they're closing it.
It's one. It's I can see it now. It's just past that big center court
Was it the
area.
Sanook?
That might be it.
Maybe it's going in there.
Hi, Joan. Yeah, you can come over and come into the basement and watch us
Yeah,
live.
you can watch us like live. You can be a studio audience if you want. Maybe we should give away tickets like The Price is Right does.
Let's not.
No. So,
Then people will see our house.
I hope people think we're as funny as we think we are.
I don't know if they do or not.
Oh, these viewership numbers are dropping fast.
No, please don't go, friends.
Just kidding.
So, we also have the American Idol experience is coming now. Not the old American Idol experience where it was a building and you could go up and audition, but the real American Idol auditions, August 17th.
Really?
Yeah, so they're kicking off their new season, and American Idol is moving to ABC. And in this conversation before we started, I really thought American Idol was already on ABC. So
No.
apparently it was on maybe Fox.
It was Fox.
Yeah. So Anyway, it's moving to ABC. Thank you, Bob Iger. I mean, for acquiring another thing. So,
yes.
If you're in Disney August 17th and you want to be an American Idol and you're between 16 and 28 or something, I think the ages are.
I don't know. I just know I'm never gonna.
I mean, I know we've aged out. Yeah. So, yeah. But if you're a youngster and musically inclined,
beautiful voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then there's your chance. And then Castaway.
Yes. So I guess kind of leading into our topic for tonight, which is.
I should have saved that for last. Oh well.
What's that? Do you want to do?
Okay, we'll come right back.
Yes.
So, Happily Ever After has some new dessert offerings. We were out in the sun all day. We're a little giggly today.
Yeah. Can you tell? We're red as beets,
yeah.
But...
So, Happily Ever After is adding some new desserts. They added like half a dozen new desserts, including a s'mores dessert,
yes.
An Ursula-inspired cupcake. There was some mention about some sort of panna cotta dessert, and I can't even remember what they all were now. But they're stepping up the dessert game. I didn't see any more savory dessert options, like no cheese plate.
No.
Which, I always look for in desserts.
Except cheese plates are an appetizer.
Okay, fine. So, they've actually also given 2 locations to see Happily Ever After from. One is from the Garden, which is the Hubgrass area that's fenced in.
Yeah, in front of the plaza.
That's $59 for adults and $35 for children. I'm going to tell you right now, don't even bother booking it. If you're booking this dessert party, don't even bother booking there because you can't see a thing. It's
Hi, Leah.
I don't know what they were thinking, but it's just not a good spot to watch fireworks. The other one's at Tomorrowland Terrace, and it's $79 for adults. Or no, sorry, $74, $79, $70 something. I can't read my handwriting. And $47 for children. That's at Tomorrowland Terrace. So, if you are going to do a dessert party, I really highly recommend Tomorrowland Terrace. We tried watching the fireworks from the Hubgrass area, and it's awful. Like, why you would pay extra to watch it from there, I don't even understand. So, that's the thing.
What's that?
Me? Oh, okay. Fantasmic Dining. Appetizers are gone.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. So, Fantasmic Dining package is still available at Mama Melrose, Hollywood Brown Derby, and Hollywood and Vine.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no appetizers included in that package meal. So, and the price has changed accordingly from what I understand.
Okay.
So, good news.
Yes.
It's unusual. Unusually good news.
Yes.
Okay, Castaway Cay.
Okay, so very exciting news. Castaway Cay, for the 2nd year in a row, has been named, I'm going to get this correct, the top cruise line private island, 2nd year in a row. Then it also was, for the 2nd year in a row, Castaway Cay was most highly rated Caribbean island overall.
So, better than the real Caribbean.
So, beating out all
Right.
other Caribbean islands.
Wait, was it better than... Best Caribbean or Best Bahamas?
Caribbean.
Best Caribbean?
Yeah. Yes. And what I always thought that this was just by critics. But evidently, the Critics' Cruise Choice Destination Awards is put on by the
But the
critics,
people make the choice.
Cruises. Right. But the people are actually filling out surveys from these critics, and it's actually the cruisers who are making this determination of
That's pretty awesome.
best island.
Hi, Melissa. So there's not a Yelp for Caribbean islands, is what you're telling me. Because that's kind of what I was expecting. I mean, maybe that's the next step.
No, not yet, I don't think.
All I know is it's based on first-hand feedback from the cruisers themselves.
There you go.
So that's very exciting news.
So, yep. Yeah. And we've got a little bit of agency news. I think my phone's ringing.
Hi, Sean.
Or yours is
That
ringing?
was mine.
Okay. Whew, okay. So a little bit of agency news. Next week is our last Run Disney race event for the summer. So I know, yeah, it's our last one. But anyway, 8 o'clock next Saturday morning, Counselor Park in York. Check out our events tab on our website, themagicsyours.com, and that'll have directions that tells you what parking lot to meet in, which is on Church Street, but I can't remember which lot off the top of my head.
I think it's C.
Yeah, walk, run, crawl, drive a scooter, walk your dog, whatever. Just come out and join us. It's fun.
It's so
we have
much
a good time.
fun.
Yeah, we have
It
a really
really
good
is.
time on Saturday mornings. I know it's early o'clock, but trust me, you don't want to run any later than that because last month it was hot.
It was hot.
So we're hoping to be a little cooler next week.
I would have even considered going an hour earlier last month's
Yeah, even though I
race.
would have had to get up at 5 in the morning, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even care.
Yeah. It was so
I
hot.
care.
So anyway, join us next Saturday for the race. And then, should we go ahead and draw our big winner today?
Sure. So, should we tell a nice
Yeah,
speech
let's
where
tell,
we
because
were
not
today?
everybody was maybe there. So
Yes.
we were at the Utz Bash today, which is sponsored by Utz Potato Chips, and it's a time for basically the whole community to come together on, usually it's the last Friday in July, except last week it rained like crazy here, so it was postponed until today. And it's a community event. Every vendor that goes has... Oh my goodness, one of them fell out. Okay. Every vendor that goes has a game for the kids. And, there's food, there's music, and it's just a really good time. So, and it's actually really cool that we did this event today because the Utz Bash was started by one of Utz's interns, Meredith Brown, who now works as a cast member for Walt Disney World.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a fun thing that we got to go to this event today that is like Meredith's event. So Meredith, if you're watching, hi.
And by we, they mean the two of them.
Yeah, and Melissa.
And Melissa, yes. Hi, Aunt Linda.
So we had a drawing for a $25 Disney gift card today. So,
William, hello.
who wants to do the honors?
I was just doing the drum roll.
Oh, okay. Ben, do you want to do the honors of pulling
Yeah,
out
you're
a name?
completely impartial. You weren't even
Yes.
That's true.
Okay, we're
Although
gonna-
Fred did just ask us to pick him. So
Okay, pick Fred. Fred, you're not eligible.
Fred, employees of and relatives of employees of Magic Travel not eligible for.
You guys, we have it right here. This person has won the $25 Disney gift card.
Yeah.
And it goes to... Does anybody recognize it from the back? No? It goes to Julie Lockman. So, Julie, if you are watching, congratulations. And if not, we will be sending you an email and or calling you to let you know that you've won. So, congratulations, Julie!
Yay!
Congratulations, Julie. Very good.
All right. So, moving on to our segment for today, we are talking about the Disney Magic.
Yes.
Cruising.
Let's go.
Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow?
Okay, let's go. Nothing.
Well,
we have a meeting tomorrow.
Oh, we can skip it.
Jeff, we will not be there.
Hi, Jennifer.
Jeff, we're going to be on a Mediterranean cruise tomorrow. I'll see you later.
So we've already talked about the dream and the fantasy.
Which are the big ships?
So now we're going to go
To the little
smaller
ships. Yeah.
to the magic, which
Yeah.
has a lot of similarities.
To the dream.
Yes.
So the dream and the magic are styled in Art Deco. So they have more of the harder lines. They're more of the what you would. Okay, don't get scared because it's not going to sink, but it's Titanic styling. As opposed
Very
to-
classic. Very.
Right, as opposed to the Art Nouveau of the fantasy and the wonder. So it's I use this to the magic and the wonder are the small ships and the dream and fantasy are the other ones. But then the magic and the dream both have 5 letters, so they're the same styling. So that's how I remember it.
So
But-
creative.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
Just like, which boat are we going on? Is it the big one or the little one?
I was like, where's the boat go? Will there be good food?
And
Okay, let's do it.
Will there be no cell signal?
Yeah, I know, right? It's top priority.
So, should we talk about entertainment first?
I like to be entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, on the Magic, we have a theater, just like we do on any of the other cruise ships. And on the Magic, you will find Tangled, which I know that's one of Ben's favorites.
Yay!
So Tangled is actually
It is.
on their live stage. Also, they feature Twice Charmed, which is a twist on the Cinderella story, or Disney Dreams. So that's the live entertainment that they have. And of course, they also have first run movies at the Buena Vista Theater, which is the same as all the other ships. Deck parties, which include pirate nights, which are of course also included in the other ships. Character meetings, which we all love.
Yeah.
Again, you will find that on all the ships. So that's kind of entertainment for as a whole, in a nutshell.
And then, of course, there are always onboard activities.
Right. So you have like
Which
recreation.
your navigator
Yes.
will give you a list every day. Every evening, the navigator's dropped off at your stateroom, and it gives you a breakdown. It gives you in list form all the things that are happening, and then it gives it to you in like TV guide format.
Oh, nice.
So you can tell like whether things
When it's
overlap
what.
or not. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, for me, that's the only way I can plan. Like if they gave it to
Yeah.
me in a list, I'd be like, I have no idea what time to go to anything or
Yes.
where it's at.
That's
So,
a good idea.
yeah, so it's a really nice little grid that they give you. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of along the same lines of entertainment is recreation. For the kids, they still have the same Oceaneer clubs as the other two ships do, or I guess all four of the ships. So you have the categories of the Oceaneers Club, which the one difference
It's
in
the
this
theming.
is the theming, where in the Dream it's Star Wars. On the Magic, it's actually Marvel Avengers. Then you also still have the edge and the vibe for the tweens and the teens, so they get their time in.
And you get your time
Yeah.
not with them.
Yes. So speaking of which, the adult only areas, couple of different differences here. You have your spa and the salon, which same on all ships. The one difference on the Magic is there's only Palo, which is the adult only Italian restaurants.
So no Remy.
There's no Remy.
So if you want French food, this is not your boat.
Right. So you have to go to the Dream or the Fantasy.
Right. We have other boats for you though. Don't worry.
Yeah. There's plenty.
We save you space.
Another adult-only difference on the Magic would be a live piano bar, which sounds really, really cool.
Yeah. Called Keys.
It's called Keys.
Hi, Sarah.
It's kind of in reference, like I guess, referencing to the old Hollywood style. It looks really
It looks fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And they also have a dancing area.
Right. Which I don't think any of the clubs on the other ships are dance oriented.
Yeah, and this one
So Fathoms
specifically
is.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yeah. So it gives a little bit
So,
different vibe
yeah.
on the Magic versus the Dream and the Fantasy.
Definitely.
Um,
But I didn't see anything about, I don't know if you saw, like, with the district stuff. Like, there's none of that on the Magic?
you know, I didn't look into which bars are like if they're clustered around the same section. I think they still are, but
Okay. Because I didn't see anything
yeah,
about
I'm
that.
not 100% on that. There's still D Lounge, so
Okay.
the family lounge area, which is where they do a lot of the
Karaoke and...
trivia,
games.
the character interaction
Yeah.
games are that's still in D Lounge, so that doesn't change. But the district area, it definitely has a different look because I think you still walk down a really long hallway to get down to like Fathom and Keys, but I'm not sure about whether they still have like a champagne lounge,
Right.
and they may not have quite as extensive
Okay.
on offerings on the lounge scene.
Okay. Sorry, that question just came to my mind.
Yep,
so-
sorry. Yep, it's a great question, and I would have to double check to be sure of the answer.
Okay.
There's also the adult pool area, which is still Cove Pool, but
Right.
the whirlpools are actually integrated into the pool setting.
Oh.
So rather than being separate and the Cove Pool having multiple layers, this time the whirlpools are actually part of that pool.
Right.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure. We'd have to. You know what? We should
I'll
research
have to
that.
just go on.
We should
try it.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
I mean, summer's not over. You could
Right.
book one for August.
Now the pools for everybody, for family pools, we've got the Aqualab
Yes.
and Goofy's pool,
Mhm.
right? And we have a large water slide, like an open water slide,
Yes.
that looks like a lot of fun. And then we have something that looks like suicide. Because you stand in this little chamber with your arms crossed like this, and they drop the floor out from under you, and then you go 7,000 miles an hour down through this chute, enclosed chute. It looks horrible.
So,
Holly has hang-ups, in case you're tuning in for the first time.
Yeah.
Holly has
I'm
hang-ups.
massively claustrophobic, so like any kind of slide that's in a tube, I'm like not really. I'm not
So-
into that.
so what with talking about this ride, water
Yeah.
tube.
Amy said it looks scary too, so it's not just me.
Yeah, it does look scary. But what I want to point out is the name of this water slide is so similar to the the
Right.
Dream and the Fantasy that is fun. So the Aquaduck, DUCK,
Like Donald.
is on the Dream and the Fantasy, and it's
awesome sauce.
Yes, you're on a tube, you're floating.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The Aqua Dunk, D-U-N-K.
Like Dunk Tank.
Right, is the one that
Because who wants to be
is
in one of
going
those?
to like submerge you into this
Right.
ride.
Right. And you're not really submerged per se,
But I mean, like,
it's going to
it
drop you
drops
through
you.
the floor. And it's a
It
short
dunks you.
drop.
It dunks you.
It dunks you. Yeah, it's a short drop. It's not like it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
dropping you like Summit Plummet at
No,
Typhoon
no,
Lagoon.
no.
It's not that bad. But it's just like down and then around. And it's fast. I mean, it's over in
It's
like
fast.
4 seconds.
Yes.
So
I think I would have to try it.
yeah, I mean, I guess if
I
you
would
can
have
hold
to
your breath
try
for 4 seconds and just be like, I don't care what happens to me until, oh, good, it's over.
But what I'm happy about is that there are 2 different rides on there, because I thought at first there was only the Aqua Dunk.
Right.
And I thought, well, I want to do a water slide. I'm not
And
sure if
I
I
don't
want
wanna
to
do
that
that water
one.
slide.
Exactly. So I'm so happy that there is a
Yeah.
choice.
Now, the second water slide is open air, though, so that would be a concern. On days that it's windy, I'm going to guess that one closes.
Probably closes.
So that's the reason that they do a lot of enclosed tubes on cruise ships, because that way they can keep them open more frequently and
Right.
not have people blowing out of the water slide and into the ocean. Because that would be really bad.
Not that that'll happen on your
It's
cruise.
not going to happen. I guarantee you, if there is a 0.0001% chance that it's going to happen, that water slide is closed for the day. So don't worry. If Disney opens it, you can get on it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we talked about shows. We talked about kids clubs.
How about our favorite topic?
Food.
What's our favorite topic?
Woo!
Food. And if you are tuning in for the first time, we talk about food a lot.
We like
We do.
We love food.
We all love it.
So we did talk about the fact that Palo is on this ship, and that's the only upgraded dining experience as far as a sit-down restaurant.
Correct. Yes.
Then we have the 3 standard rotational restaurants. Did we all talk about rotational dining? About how the staff comes along with you to each restaurant?
No, no.
Or
I
you
don't know
kinda
if we
glossed
did the
over
first time.
Okay. So
Because this is our 3rd one. So we
This
may
is
have talked about it in the first one, but there was a big
just in
gap.
case. Just in
So,
case
yeah.
we didn't. Rotational dining on the cruise ships means that the cast members who are your wait staff the first night actually follow you to each restaurant. So it's actually really cool because you still get to know your wait staff, but you get to experience all of these different venues while you're rotating through them.
Hi, Vicky.
And each ship has 3. So if you're on, a 7-night cruise, you're going to get to all 3 of them at least twice, and that still gives you, like, whichever one you would get to for a 3rd time, you can book Palo or on the larger ships Remy on that night. So.
And it's actually very neat the way they do it. On your cruise card, they've got a sequence of letters, and it's the first letter of the name of each restaurant.
Crack the code.
Yeah, I mean it's not like top secret or anything, but it's just a nice little reminder that it's like
where you're supposed to eat.
Of where you're supposed to eat. So and they go in order. So it's like, R-A whatever the 3rd one was, I forget at the moment. But and it just repeats the pattern. So if you ever have a question, just figure out which night of the cruise you're on and
which is sometimes hard to do because you're like, wait, how long have we been on this one?
Fair enough.
What day of the week is it
And-
at home? Who cares?
Oh, Vicky's in Orlando.
Yeah,
Yes, she
Vicky's
is.
at a Tupperware
Vicky.
convention.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Hey, Miss Mom.
But yeah, but that is nice. They do come along. They change outfits depending on which restaurant you're in.
Super cute.
And by like the 3rd night, they realize that nope, this dude just wants Diet Coke to drink. All right, I'm gonna bring him a Diet Coke.
I'm
Not
just
even
gonna go
gonna
ahead
ask.
and skip his wine glass.
Yeah.
That is my kind of place.
Yeah, exactly.
The 3 restaurants on the Magic, the Animators Palette is still on the Magic, and I think it was either the Magic or the Wonder, if I remember correctly, that had the original Animators Palette before they expanded it to the other. Don't quote me on that, but I think because this one looks like the way I expected Animators Palette to be. When we ate there on the Dream, I thought it was really very different than what I expected. Because I remember watching a video when it first came out, and that was the thing. I was like, I must go on a Disney cruise ship because I must eat in that restaurant.
Yes.
And everything started out black and white in sketch form, and it came alive with color throughout the meal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ours was kind of more like we ate with Turtle Talk with Crush.
Yeah.
So I was like, at the end of the meal, I'm like, this was not what I was really anticipating from this restaurant. Like, okay, I mean, it was nice, but this wasn't what I expected going in.
Yeah.
I think this is the
original.
The original, yeah.
Nice.
Or at least it's the first one I saw a video of, so
Right.
it might not be,
Fair enough.
But yeah, it definitely has that vibe where everything starts out black and white. Not just everything starts sketched, but everything starts literally black and white, and then colorizes as you go. And then there's also
Lumiere's.
Okay.
Which it's not as overly, heavily themed as Be Our Guest. So if you're expecting Be Our Guest, you're going to have a little bit of a letdown there because it definitely has elements of Beauty and the Beast, but it's not as over the top. Like, you're not sitting in the ballroom, you're not sitting in the West Wing. It's a restaurant with nice homages to Beauty and the Beast. So just kind of check your expectations on that one.
And
karaoke's. Where we don't think they do karaoke.
No.
Just eat food.
We just eat. Yes.
Yep, so those are your 3 rotationals. Pinocchio's Pizza is the pizzeria.
Yes.
And Pete's
Boiler Bites.
There we go. Is the chicken fingers,
tacos,
and burgers.
And hot dogs, yes.
Hot dogs.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe not chicken fingers.
No.
Burgers, hot dogs, and tacos. Burgers, hot dogs, tacos. Yeah.
And then the Magic also has Cabanas, which is your buffet.
Which everybody has Cabanas, so the naming is consistent across all Disney ships. At the moment, we don't know what the 3 new ships will have, but right now everybody's is called Cabanas. That's your buffet.
And it's awesome.
Lunchtime, breakfast,
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
so
very
good.
good.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Consistently good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have anything else you want to talk about before we go to itineraries?
Do we want to talk about
Marvel Day? Yeah,
okay.
Let's do that first and then we'll go into...
So, the Magic features Marvel Day at Sea. But one thing we want everybody to understand is that not every Magic itinerary or cruise has Marvel Day at Sea.
You have to find one specifically that is
and
Marvel
it will
Day at
say
Sea.
specifically when you're booking it on the itinerary, like on
and
the first page.
You will be able to tell by the price as well.
That is true. That is true. There is an elevated price point for this. So if you're looking to take
Star Wars.
The most reasonable Disney cruise you can, first of all, cruising in January is good, and then cruising in January and avoiding Marvel Day at Sea and Star Wars Day at Sea will get you pretty much the best pricing you can get on a cruise.
Booking like 18 months out.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be booking for the end of 2018 right now, and even into the first weeks of 2019. So that's...
I know what Amy's doing after the cast.
January 3rd. That's my birthday, 2019.
I mean, you might as well go on a cruise.
I mean, that sounds pretty good to me.
I think it's
and I mean, you're going to be 21, right? So it's a big milestone birthday, and you should do it.
Yes, 21. Plus 20. Yes. So Marvel Day at Sea. It's on select 7 and 8 night Bohemian cruises, and Canadian cruises from New York in the fall of 2019. So that's already looking at
19.
I thought it was 19.
19's not.
Maybe 18.
Not out yet.
The same 18.
The Bohemian early 19.
Okay.
There's probably at least one out for that.
And then 5 nights Western Caribbean cruises from Miami early 2018. And some of the special things that they do for Marvel Day at Sea is special deck parties, with dancing and fireworks and photo ops, obviously, with your Marvel characters. So, super fun.
Hey, maybe we can actually meet Spider-Man and Captain America.
Yes, Spider-Man, Captain America,
I wouldn't hold my
Thor.
breath.
As opposed to our failed meet and greet from Disneyland. So
Yes.
are we good on comments?
I mean, we're
Guardians of Galaxy.
Star-Lord and stuff.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a movie marathon for Marvel movie marathon.
They're getting up to the point where it'll just be the entire cruise, where they can just run the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And then, I'm curious about this Marvel-themed food. So I'm just wondering what it would be.
You know, Summer of Heroes has some Marvel-themed food at Disneyland right now. Or they're phasing it out, I guess, by the end of the summer. But I don't remember what the offerings were, but they have, like, specifically down Buena Vista Street, they have special offerings at various food cart locations and quick service.
I just think that sounds fun. I just like themed food.
Yeah.
I just like food.
I
just like themed food. It's really cool.
Yeah, we were this close to going on a Star Wars Day at Sea cruise, but I forget why we didn't.
Oh my gosh, I don't know why we didn't book that.
I'm not sure either, honestly, but
I think
it's okay.
I have a feeling it was because we had an annual pass at the time, and I was like, oh, I just can't justify, like, if we're going to take a trip, not just using the annual pass where we don't have to pay any extra for tickets. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, anything else before itineraries?
I think we're good.
All right, itineraries.
And I hope we're not going too fast, but this is our third
right. So we
cruising.
Yeah, so we want to make sure we get
Yes.
everything in, but
some new stuff rather than repeating old stuff.
Right.
So.
Right. So if you have any questions about basic Disney cruising, like just send us a message,
Right.
Hit us up with an email, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Absolutely.
Yep, and we covered some of that in the previous cruise casts.
Right.
So
you can
you're
always
welcome
scroll back through the page.
Yeah, everyone's happy to
talk.
talk to you, but you can also go look at our videos.
Right. Yep. So itineraries. Right now, the Magic is in the Mediterranean, and they're cruising. Mostly they're doing round trips from Barcelona to Rome and Rome to Barcelona. So the port stops that are available in the Mediterranean are, of course, Barcelona and Rome, Villefranche, Naples, and Livorno. So a couple different options there. When you're getting into transatlantic, which will be coming back in September, so there are only a couple of weeks left on the Mediterranean itinerary for this year. The transatlantic on the way out from Barcelona will stop at Seville, Lisbon, Ponta Delgado, and then go to St. John's before it stops in New York. So even though it's transatlantic, you do get a couple of port stops. You also get a bunch of days at sea, which on Disney Cruise are amazing. Days at sea are really a fantastic way to spend your time.
Food.
Yeah. And we have we actually had a self-made day at sea.
Well, day at port, because we didn't go into Nassau.
Because we just stayed on the boat. We're like, whatever, we've been to Nassau, I don't care. Days at sea are just so much fun because they're like, Disney does all kinds of different activities. Like you cannot get bored on the ships.
Yeah.
And
it really helps if you're a Disney fan.
Right.
But
right. And I know
they're fun regardless.
You could say that of any.
Hi, Carrie.
Of any cruise ship, they all do lots of activities for days at sea. But I mean, here's the thing, like. For us, like, we love Disney characters. We like doing trivia. We like doing, like, contests related to Disney and Disney characters. Watching Disney movies. This is our entertainment. So, when I have those things available on a cruise ship versus I have a champagne art auction or I just don't care. Or a 20% off purse sale, I'm kind of like, whatever. It's just a bag.
Now a Disney art auction where they park you right next to the Disney Vacation Club kiosk and the cruise booking kiosk.
So it all depends on what you like. I mean, there are other people. I know other people that go on the other cruise lines that we also sell, and to them, like, days at sea are amazing because they love going to the duty free shop and they love being able to buy a less expensive
casino,
special watch, casino, that kind of stuff. To me, I'm like, is that all there is to do today? Like, where are the Disney characters? Like, what time is trivia?
and I think we've talked about this before, but it's really hard. I can't reiterate it enough. There is something for everyone on this ship. Mm-hmm. When I'm in charge of vacationing, I nap and I relax. Yeah. That hasn't happened for 13 and a half years. So, but Holly's a goer. She likes to do stuff. So, like, last time we were on the only time we've been on a Disney cruise, dang it.
We're going back, though.
Holly was like, hey, they've got this presentation about the history of the ship and how it was built and all this stuff, and it's in a pub, and da-da-da. I'm like, that sounds awesome. You go do that, I'm going to go take a nap. And that was fine.
Except then, I was telling you all about it, and you're like, man, I kind of wish I'd have gone to that. And I'm like,
that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
She was right.
So, anyway, back to itineraries. So, Transatlantic comes back, and then the Magic will sail out of New York. It'll do a 4-night and a 5-night New England cruise with St. John and or Bar Harbor back and forth twice. And then it starts alternating. It does a couple of Bahamas from New York, and then it does some 7-night Canadian. I call it Canada sometimes, and I just messed it up.
Sorry, Canadians. Our apologies.
So, Canada, New England, 7 nights. And then on the 4 and 5, you only pick up St. John and Bar Harbor. On the 7-night, you pick up Charlottetown, Sydney, and Halifax. So you get a couple more options on Canadian ports for those longer itineraries, and then back to the Bahamas again from New York. And most of that time is spent at sea when you're doing Bahamas from New York because there's nothing to stop at in between. So you're literally just chilling in the Atlantic till you get to the Bahamas. Then at Thanksgiving, the Magic repositions from New York to San Juan. Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
New York to San Juan, and it stops at Tortola on the way down. But that's a really quick. That's like a 4 or 5 night. But it's kind of a neat, like, if you only want to fly one way and you're East Coast, the only problem is for us, Mid-Atlantic, getting to New York and then not being able to get back to your car. You've got to basically fly back to New York to pick up your car. So that would be kind of difficult. Or you would have to fly BWI to New York anyway. So from here, that itinerary, I think, is kind of tricky. Then immediately again, the boat repositions from San Juan to Miami. By December, and the ports on the way there it's in Eastern Caribbean, so it's Basseterre and Tortola. Then in December, from December to May, the Magic ports out of Miami, and it does a wide variety of things from there. You get mostly 4 to 5 night itineraries, and they will take you anywhere from Key West to Nassau to Castaway Cay to Georgetown to Grand Cayman to Cozumel. So
nice.
If you're looking for specific ports and you're looking for a shorter cruise, December to May is an ideal time to be on the Magic. Also, flying into Miami, it can sometimes be a little bit cheaper than flying to Orlando, even though it's a slightly longer flight, because it doesn't have the draw of Disney World and all of the ships porting from Port Canaveral. Mm-hmm. So it gives you some flexibility there with price if you need to keep that price down a little bit. After the December to May, porting from Miami, then we hit transatlantic again. And what they have been tending to do is that one year it'll be Northern Europe and then Mediterranean, and then it'll flip-flop for the following years. So since we just came from the Mediterranean, that's where we're going to head back to start the summer season. And the transatlantic on that trip stops at Ponta Delgado, Lisbon, Cadiz, Malaga, and Ibiza in Spain before ending in Barcelona. And then we do Mediterranean until July 22nd, Barcelona to Rome and back. There is a round trip, I think, that they stuck in there. I didn't write down when it is, but I believe there's a round trip next year.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Then there's a Barcelona to Dover repositioning.
Ooh.
So that one's kind of fun because it hits Cadiz, Lisbon, Vigo, and Chorborro on the way up to Dover. I forget how many nights that is. That's a pretty short one. I think I'm going to say that's 5 or 6 nights. Then you get an 11-night Dover to Copenhagen repositioning. I think this looks like the most awesome cruise. Like, this is, when I looked at Northern European cruises, this was the one I was like, that's the one I want to take, because it hits Helsinki, Stockholm, St. Petersburg, Tallinn, Estonia, Warnemünde, which is the port stop that's the closest to Berlin. Did I miss anybody? Amsterdam. And St. Petersburg, yep. So Dover to Copenhagen, and it picks up like 5 awesome Scandinavian and Russian port stops in between. Wow, cool cruise. Yeah. And there are other cruise lines. They have ships that run this itinerary multiple times. So if these dates don't work for you and you want to see those ports, we can make that happen on a different line. So we have some flexibility there. Then we do some cruising in Northern Europe. We do a 7-night Scandinavian and Russia round trip from Copenhagen. Once again, a little bit easier if you want to do round trip flights. If you want to, rather than fly to Dover, do the cruise, fly home from Copenhagen. Some people that's not comfortable, so that can help a little bit. Then we do a 10-night Norway and Iceland. Then a 7-night Norwegian fjords. And then the cruise that we almost tried to book for next year, the 7-night British Isles. The British Isles hits Cork, Dublin, Greenock, and Liverpool. And that's the last Northern European cruise for the season in 2018. Then we come back transatlantic, and on the westbound, coming from Dover, you're going to hit Portland Harbor, Cork, then Sydney, Nova Scotia, Halifax, and St. John before coming back to New York. Then next fall, the itinerary on the Magic is changing up a little bit. There are going to be some one-way Quebec City to New York and back, a couple options for that, and 5- and 6-night Bermuda cruises out of New York.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I don't even know if there's availability left on those, honestly, because they came out and people like lost their minds. They were like, "Oh my God, book it immediately!"
Wow.
In fact, that was actually our first choice for cruise to book for next fall, and the timing, unfortunately, just didn't work out. So we will not be on that one. Not next year, anyway. So that 5-night Bermuda is alternating with Canada and the Bahamas. So the Magic's going to be doing a lot of cruising out of New York next year. That'll last in the fall. It'll be September, October, and most of November.
Nice.
So, and then we're back to where we started. 5 nights
You
out
followed all
Miami.
that.
Yeah, 5-6 nights out of Miami. So I mean, you can see the Mediterranean, you can see Northern Europe, you can see Canada, New England, you can see the Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, catch San Juan. You can't really see the Southern Caribbean, but you can catch San Juan, and you can get to Key West and Castaway Cay all on the Magic. So the Magic has a really diverse itinerary. I mean, it's a really cool ship.
It really is amazing how many stops they get in with only having 4 ships.
It is. They cover the map with these ships. And that is something that you run into. If there's a specific itinerary you're looking for, it might only sail once, twice, 3 times a year on Disney Cruise Line because they don't have a ship that they can go park in the Med for like 6 months. You know? So that's something when those 3 new ships come online in 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Some changes, I think.
Yeah, you're gonna see huge itinerary changes, and probably nobody's gonna know where any ship goes for like 2 years. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where the boats are.
It would be a welcome disruption because adding more Disney ships to the fleet sounds like a great idea.
Right. And when we talk about the Wonder next week, we'll talk about their itineraries, and you'll see, I mean, Disney really does have the entire Western Hemisphere covered with 4 ships. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's like the ocean version of their bus service at Disney. It's like nope, we just got to figure out how this works. Hire all the statisticians and logisticians, and let's get to work.
Right. Yeah. I really can't believe like they have it down to a science to be able to figure out like what they need and where.
It's crazy.
Another really cool thing about the Magic and the Wonder, when we talked about the Dream and the Fantasy a couple weeks ago, we noted that they only have rooms that sleep up to 5, even in their Royal Concierge, like, you know, triple diamond, gold, platinum room.
Doesn't matter how large.
You can only sleep 5 people. There are actually 4 rooms each on the Magic and the Wonder that sleep 7. So if you have a larger party, now granted these rooms also come with a larger price tag because they have names like the Walter E. Disney Suite and the Roy O. Disney Suite. When you see something that's named the Roy and the Walt, you can go ahead and throw some dollar signs behind it because chances are you're getting a really premium experience. Yes. So if you do have a larger family, rather than splitting up into multiple staterooms, this option is available to you. And like I said, with all the port stops that this ship covers, like if you have a larger family, there's no reason that you even need to book the Dream or the Fantasy. Like you can sail anywhere you want to sail in the Magic as long as you can maneuver the itinerary and the timing. The dates, Right. And you don't mind porting out of Miami when you're in Florida. And, you know, if you're trying to connect a cruise to a Disney World vacation, you're going to want to port out of Port Canaveral. You're going to want the Dream or the Fantasy, because those are the only 2 Disney ships that go there. Actually, the Wonder might. We'll have to I'll double check the Wonder's itinerary and see what they do when they're back from their Western expeditions. So, yeah. Anything else about Magic?
I don't think so.
It's a lovely boat.
I think we've covered it.
Right. Yeah. Of course, it was one of the earlier ships, so it doesn't have, it doesn't look it's not quite as open inside. It's not, it's not quite as bright and flashy, but it's still a beautiful ship and still does a great job as far as itineraries. It carries fewer passengers, so there are fewer people competing with you to go to the pool, fewer people in line in front of you in the aquadunk, in front of the buffet. I guarantee you if we're on the Magic together, I will not be in front of you in line at the aquadunk, so that's one less person in line. I will be in line for that other water slide, though. Yeah. So I had talked to somebody a while ago who really didn't want to cruise on a smaller ship, and I said, I think you're maybe missing an opportunity, because there truly is. Like, we've done not a mega ship, but a tier under a mega ship. Oh my gosh, it was like you had to make an appointment to eat food. You had and some of the mega ships, like if you want to go to, they have an ice show, they have a go-kart track, but you have to schedule 5 months in advance that you're going. Like, you might as well go schedule fast passes for Disney World. I mean, if you're looking for a cruise, if you're looking for your cruise experience to be kind of laid back and fun, and just not really have to have a schedule, and you're on beach time but on a boat, the mega ships aren't getting that accomplished. They have a great variety of activity, but the smaller ships like the Magic and the Wonder give you the opportunity to really relax and take it easy and take each day as it comes. So there's a big benefit to that
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, moving on to fun fact.
Sounds good.
Okay. Our fun fact for tonight comes to us from the West Coast. We've talked a little bit about Club 33, the very exclusive lounge that's in above New Orleans Square at Disneyland Park. And if you're on a tour, like, you can't even get into the lobby, even on a backstage tour, like, you can't even get into the lobby of Club 33 because the members get all cranky about it. So, Tom Hanks, if you're watching, I'm talking to you. No. Just kidding. Nothing but love. So there's actually a sister club at, it's called 1901 over beside the Carthay Circle in Disney's California Adventure. And the Club 33 members, while they're allowed to use the Club 1901 lounge, they don't get nearly as cranky about people going inside. So we're fortunate enough to get to go inside the 1901 lounge on Backstage Magic Adventures by Disney.
Yep. It was in the morning before anyone was there.
Before anybody was there. Nobody was in there drinking yet. So, but a really cool space. They have a bar with 4 directors-style chairs. And on the backs of the chairs, it says Walt, Lillian, Roy, and Edna. And if you're not familiar, Edna was Roy Disney's wife. Great little lounge. They have like little tiki bird sculptures that also double as light fixtures. There's a shadow of Walt Disney that actually, like, you can see him walk.
They call it a hidden Walt.
Yeah. Very cool. And ample seating, obviously comfy club chairs, and just neat artwork, like old Hollywood pictures and things.
Yeah.
It's just a very cool space. So one of the things that you can pick up on an Adventures by Disney tour, if you're interested in those.
Do you know
Let us
anybody
know.
who's members? Like, I mean, did they tell you
Club
on
33?
No.
Well, there's, I don't think there's a separate membership for 1901.
Okay.
I don't believe.
Okay.
So Club 33 members just get to
Got
use
it.
the DCA version. But I have heard that Tom Hanks and Johnny Depp are Club 33
Yeah.
members. So.
I knew that you knew some, not personally.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Club
I
33
believe,
members,
I think
unfortunately.
Chris Hardwick of Nerdist fame and
Oh, he
Comcast
probably is,
commercials,
yeah.
I think he just
Because
joined.
they're like huge Disney fans.
Yeah.
Like they have the Haunted Mansion wallpaper in their house. Because his wife had a commission. Like, she knows Martha Stewart personally. And, like, she used to
Maybe.
make her movies.
That's what he says on his podcast
Yeah,
anyway, so.
Oh,
It's pretty
my
cool.
God.
Anyway, speaking of Adventures by Disney, I haven't done a final San Francisco ABD wrap-up. So I'm going to come back and do that live on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. So if you're interested in hearing the conclusion of the San Francisco trip and the cost to value comparison, Sunday night would be a good time to pick that up. We'll be here at 8 o'clock. I think it's just going to be me solo shotting because Mom's bailing on me. So maybe I can get Ben to come down and do Q&A with me if he's home in time.
I should be home in time.
We'll see. So I don't have to sit here by myself. All right, so that does it for us tonight. Next week we're talking about The Wonder. And thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, because it's not much of a show without you.
Yes, and thank you all who came by to say hello.
Yes, everybody we talked to at the Uds Bash today.
It was
Thanks
awesome.
for coming out. We had a great time,
Yes.
and are very sunburned.
Yes.
Hopefully you're not. So, thanks, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you real
Bye.
soon.